All right, guys, we're back again. Dynamic Man Podcast, episode 43. And we're back on our old stomping grounds. No longer behind this sketchy wall that we were behind before. I want to just do another quick video for you guys today. And I want to talk about something that I think is really overlooked big time in the manosphere in particular. And this is actually like a topic area where you have a cluster of different problems. And, in terms of the clients that I usually work with when it comes to women, you're going to get close to 50-50, 60-40 split between guys who, let's say it's a 50-50 split between guys who have dating issues and guys who have relationship issues. Okay? Maybe it's 60-40, but it's around that, right? Very balanced. And then you have this small subset, maybe about 20% of total clientele, that makes up this middle portion. It's a cluster of different issues. Okay? It's a cluster of different issues that guys have. And they are all around vetting and choosing women. So the topic of this video is the difference between vetting and choosing. What are the different kind of problems that guys face in this domain? Because for the problem for one guy is that he may be able to attract women, but he doesn't understand them. So as a result, he's getting, in these romantic situations with women who are either women who he doesn't see any long-term potential for, or conversely, they are women who will sort of he falls way too hard for, doesn't understand he's being gamed. So it's kind of like, this is a very much of like men understanding how women game them, and also trying to figure out how to weigh women in terms of their quality for a serious relationship. And that's really the vetting process, right? And what I'll always try to encourage guys is to think about, when it comes to vetting, you are not thinking about simply, did she do this? Did she do that? And I'm not saying that her actions don't have any significance, but when it comes to actually, like, is she going to be a good wife? Is she going to be a good girlfriend? And there's slightly different things, by the way, those two. You are going to be looking for, how much has she grown? How much is she aware of her problems? A woman, like I had this tweet the other day, I was talking about this. The problem that a lot of people face in dating is actually that the market is filled with extremely low consciousness people. Low consciousness people lack the ability to change. They lack the ability to develop rewarding relationships. So when you're vetting for a woman, you could have a woman have a very low consciousness, even if she's very sheltered. There's a lot of women in third world countries around the world who are low consciousness. And they may only be good out of fear because of their acute environment restricts them from being degenerate. And so second you take them out of that environment, they change. So it's really important for you to be able to, when you're vetting a woman, to be able to understand, okay, maybe she did some messed up stuff in the past, but has she learned from it? Has she grown from it? Is she more mature? And I know I've talked about this a lot of times, but guys get really upset about this, especially when it comes to prior sexual partners, because what they are really interested in, they're not necessarily always interested in having like a good wife. What they're interested in is having a wife that makes them feel good about themselves. And I'm not saying that those are completely mutually exclusive things, right? Because you have to feel satisfied with the woman that you're taking on. You have to feel good about committing to her. But this is a vetting and choosing difference. You can vet a woman, she can be good wife material, but you still may not choose her. And sometimes that choice is acceptable. Sometimes that choice is understandable. You're allowed to have an ego. You're allowed to say, she's probably would be a good wife, but I don't think I can do it. You know, she slept with too many guys before, or there's too many things I don't feel comfortable with. You know, you're allowed to do that as a man. You're allowed to disregard a woman, but don't say it's because, you know, be honest about your reason for not committing to a woman. And so this is one of the things, like, when I get to the real difference, like the really crux of the difference between vetting and choosing, is vetting is information. So when you're trying to determine whether a woman is worth committing to, that's vetting. It's assessing her analytically. Choosing is emotional on your end. Am I able to cherish this woman? Am I able to claim her? Am I able to take her as my own? And a lot of guys will claim they need more information, but they actually don't. What they need is to conquer this fear of commitment. They know that the woman is good for them, but they're going to tell themselves that, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. No, you just can't make a decision. And I want to, like, extrapolate this even further. Decisiveness is so important. It's so important for men. It's not just important in the standpoint of the ability to choose and claim a woman is what makes her feel like you wanted her, and that sets the bedrock of a good relationship. So as a guy, I'm not saying you have to rush into things, and you shouldn't, but if you prevaricate too long when a woman is expecting at that point, you know, and justifiably expecting commitment, she's going to, like, you're setting yourself up for a bad relationship, even if you do commit to her later, because she's going to, if a woman feels like she pushed you into being with her, she's always going to resent you for it. And you're always going to resent her for it. So you have to make the choice on your own. But the choosing is a very big emotional thing for guys. It's the idea of losing their freedom. It's the idea of what if I make a wrong choice? No, I don't think about decluttering my office. I like all these books in here. I like all this wild stuff. This is the office of an intellectual. That's what it is. The office of an intellectual. It's a style, man. It's a style. You can find anything in here. So the big point here that you guys have to understand, you have to take into consideration is, do you have a problem making decisions in general? Because a lot of guys, their big issue is, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to make the wrong choice. How do I know it's going to work? You don't know it's going to work. The whole point of vetting is not to tell you the future. The whole point of vetting is to let you know within as minor a margin of error as possible that you have good material you can work with. Like, if you think, like, I need to wait to commit to find out what happens 10 years from now, how do I know how she's going to be with kids? I can't commit to her. How do I know? You don't know. You got to take some risk in life. But you can, but the vetting tells you how to minimize your risk. But the choosing, you have to act. And so this act of choosing is something that is not even just with women. I find a lot of guys who struggle to do it with women also struggle to do it in other areas of their life. They're slow to make decisions. And it's not a good trait to get into. It's not a good trait to get into. People think that they're going to lose their freedom by committing to something. But the truth is that they actually lose it. You gain so much more freedom when you've committed to something. Because now you have this release. It's like, I'm on the path. It's almost like you preclude options at that point. You can just focus straight down it. And you actually go further as a result. It's like maturity to accept that you're going to put things off to the side. My man, a man bought the class, which of course I'm going to be getting into in a second here. I do want to answer this question real quick. And yes, my wife can find anything she needs, but not in this office. In the house, yes, but not in the office. As a man with traits of anxious attachment in the past, how do I recognize whether I'm choosing or vetting? Well, anxious attached people will typically, so anxiety can create hesitation to make decisions, but an anxiously attached person is typically, at least when we talk about classic anxious attachment, right? they are typically going to commit to a woman without vetting her properly because they're going to project a fantasy onto her, right? So anxiously attached people don't have usually as much of a hard time choosing a woman. They tend to have a hard time rejecting a woman who's not good for them. Whereas a more avoidant man or disorganized man, and here's the thing, like, and I talk about this in the course, but a lot of people may have anxious attachment, but they have defense mechanisms from getting burned. So it creates like a superficial veneer of disorganized, or which is also known as fearful avoidant attachment. So you could be anxious attached, but you might be at the same time still creating defense mechanisms at this point after getting burned. So it's like, I want to get someone close, but not too close. But it's usually the avoidant people who have a hard time choosing because they don't, they're kind of like, I don't want to lose myself at all in a relationship. So anytime the other person has a need, the avoidance, like, I don't want anything to do with that. Avoidance can play, like in the poly communities, for instance, like avoidance can play a lot of, I'm very, intimate. I love you. I care about you, but they don't want to ever commit because the commitment constrains options and freedom, which is the avoidant is always afraid of doing, of losing. So I say all this stuff, obviously, I mean, we're on course launch this weekend. Dynamic Man Masterclass, over 40 hours of material. I don't know the exact number. That's why sometimes you might hear me say up to 45, some 40. I know it's within that range. And it's almost 250 videos. So for this weekend, you get the Dynamic Man Masterclass on a discount. I'm pitching it, guys. I'm pitching it because I want you guys to get it. Like, I never discount things. Like, the price only always goes up. The Masterclass was $500, then it was $690. I didn't change it even when I was going through all the shit with the feds. I didn't change it. $849 just through Monday, and then it's $999. It'll never go beneath $999 again. I know it's not good marketing. I know you can do sort of things to get people to buy if you lower the price. I don't think it's fair to people who buy early. They always give more to people who buy early. People who buy this weekend don't only get the masterclass at that discounted price, they also get a free coaching call with me, 30-minute call. My current single hour call, that's not the package rate. If you have a package, the hours are low, hourly rate's lower. But if you get a single 1 hour call with me, if you buy it, it's $1,000 now. So a 30-minute call with me for free, it's a pretty good deal as well. And you're also going to get access. It's going to be in Q1. We're going to be doing a private workshop on sex and a lot of these forbidden topics in the sex world. There's a lot of sex talk within the masterclass itself. Every module has at least one video going into it, different aspects of sex. But there's stuff even in the masterclass I didn't talk about because there's just things that are like this. This workshop is a self-destruct workshop. Like, we're going to have it. It's going to be up for, we're going to have the workshop. You're going to get notice. 72 hours later, it's gone. Never to be seen again. So that is that's what you get for getting it this weekend. It's a very, very good deal. Forger's got the class. It's everything you need to master relationships in general. It's fantastic. Go get it. I mean, and I'll also say this, guys, if any of you ever were like, I'd like to work with Pat, but I don't know if now is the right time or I don't have the money, I want you to think of it like this. The masterclass is a down payment on coaching. It's deducted from coaching. And honestly, it's always deducted at the list price. So when you buy it at $849, you're actually getting $999 off a coaching package in the future, because that's how much it's going to be to deduct from the coaching package. I don't play with those numbers. You just get credit for it. So it's a really good deal. It's a really good deal. And this course is also, even if you don't have the money ever to work with me, or it's not your focus for whatever reason, the course is designed, this new course is designed to actually take you through everything. Like, it's full spectrum. There's even videos in there that are helping you to coach. If I was coaching you, this is what I would ask you. So you have the intro module, which talks about the 3 skills of a dynamic man. And then which are throughout the entire course. And then you have 5 modules. And first module is inner work. Second module is dating. Third module is this thing that we're talking about today. It's vetting and choosing. It's a decision point. How do you assess women? Female psychology. What's a red flag? What actually isn't? Module 4 is relationships. How to keep them alive and expand them. Module 5, all about expanding consciousness. Like reality creation, right? Really cool stuff. I've tried to make this as comprehensive as possible. Like I said, 40 to 45 hours. I don't know the exact amount. Almost 250 videos. It is extensive. And if you're an action taker, there's everything in here that you could possibly use to answer all your questions with women. That is a promise. That is a promise. I've pretty much left no stone unturned. So, as I said, guys, the link to buy it is below. You can see some of the details there. I hope you do jump in. Tomorrow's the last day for the deal, and you can always still get it. You're just not going to get not going to get it at that discount, and you're not going to get the bonuses. So, I love you guys. I hope you have a great Sunday, and I will see it. I will see you guys on the next Dynamic Man. I'm going to do one tomorrow morning and another one tomorrow evening, covering 2 other topics. Also going to be short ones like this. We're back to our regular scheduled programming on Tuesday. Buy it for your local marriage counselor. They need it. That is true. That is true. And everything, actually, the one we talk about tomorrow will be more on module 4, because that's got everything in it to save your marriage. So, all right, guys. Anyone at church helping couples should be required to watch it. I appreciate that, Fox. And I believe that too. I stand by it. Stand by my work on this. All right. I'll see you guys. Have a great night.